declare this meeting of street and lights open at 5 o'clock p.m.
On July 16th. All right.
Ready? You want me to get started, Mr. Miles?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. Number one, Elm Street sidewalk. And I don't think we have any pictures in there, but I showed it to Jennifer just a little while ago. There's a house being renovated on East Elm Street, which is between High and Main. Not on the corner, but it is the second house. Probably is like 409, 411.
Right next door to the one that was recently, within the past year been, is that
Yeah,
right?
it's just right over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 4 houses in a row. It's the third
Yeah.
one from Town Hall. It's a duplex being renovated.
Right.
And recently got a call from Mr. Page, who is involved in the renovations of it, about putting a dumpster in there. And he wanted to put a roll-off cam so they could do a demolition. And went over there, and the sidewalk is bad. The sidewalk is really rough, and I think if you guys want to take a look at it, we can do it. But I think it falls within repair. But the key to it is cutting down one big tree. There's a big oak tree in the way, and if you guys want to take a look at it, you can. I think I could just replace it. I mean, it's part of the secondary program for the town. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, there's a right big oak tree that needs to come down to make it work, as it's grown over the sidewalk. But whether you make a decision or make a recommendation tonight, no hurry, but take a look at it. And
Is that a tree the town could cut down, or would have to?
yeah, I think we can get it. I think town guys could get it. But it's a right big willow oak tree that would need to come down. And it's partially on the property, very partially on the property of Mr. Avalee's next door. So I probably would need to communicate with both property owners. All right. And if you want to look at it, we can look at it. If you want to just look at it individually, however you'd like to do that, and we can come back at some point. But I don't think there's any particular rush. It's been pretty rough for probably 5 or 6 years, but the tree has grown such that the sidewalk going to the house has pried the sidewalk up out of the ground. And you can see the
It's rough.
slab of sidewalks.
I know exactly what you're talking. I mean, it's right, if you come out of the alley from a shop back up, where Bill Board say, it's right there, I see it.
It's not our best sidewalk in town. So I was gonna run that by you, but because there was a tree involved and all that stuff going on.
It's good to see those houses being improved, and doing what they're doing. I mean, it's Frankie Williamson, I think, and I think he did the one on the end.
They may have, I think Josh Johnson has bought the one on the end. Frankie may have done the work
Yeah.
for Josh or whatever. And then the folks that own the Pearl Restaurant are somehow involved with the next house, and that's been worked on. And then this house, and then the Avalee's leaving the last one. Okay. Item number 2. Tavern Street drainage, 2 locations.
Did you wanna act on that sidewalk, Mr. Knopf? Did you wanna make a recommendation, or what do you wanna do?
You said it's not a rush.
It ain't going nowhere. It's been like that for years. It's just that the tree's gotten to a point where it's actually pried the sidewalk at the
I
connection.
think I'd like to look, even if we just do it individually, I want to just glance at it.
It's pretty tough. I would propose doing the whole block.
What, you said what now?
I would propose doing the whole block,
Okay.
all the way back to the drop inlet at the alley, where we did replace, and take it out to the radius there at High Street.
What I would suggest to do is have Philip to get with each one of us, take us to their project and show us what's got to be done.
Absolutely.
And then we come back and decide, okay?
Do we have cost?
Everybody agree?
Yeah, I think so. Do we have a cost estimate, just?
Yeah, I can, once we open Jason's bid, or whoever the contractor is that bids on the concrete work, Jason bids every year. Every once in a while, we get a second bid for the annual contract. It has a linear foot, cost for curb and gutter, and it's got a square yard cost for sidewalk, and then we can measure it. and tell you.
Just like ballpark.
So how long would it be before you think you would know?
Bids are open on the 20th of June, or 20th of July, excuse me.
That's for the tree working on?
No, not the tree work, that's just the concrete work. I'd have to get some prices on the tree, or,
How long you think you will know about the tree? Give us an estimate about the tree.
I mean, Jennifer had a good point, our guy's problem. I just need to ask Dan, make sure he's not freaked out about how tall it is or whatever. I try to, as a courtesy, let Dan take a look at them. Like over there on,
Tavern Street,
no, that house on, was it 5th Street, 6th Street?
Fifth and
Where we did the
Fifth
sewer
and
work,
Brunswick.
or the sewer line runs through there. And we took 3 trees out. Dan was comfortable getting one of them, but he said the other 2 were too tall. So I give him the courtesy to say yea or nay on the trees. I can bring you back cost estimate once we open this bid for the sidewalk. Then I'll know what it is.
Is that satisfactory with y'all?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Number two, the first drainage problem. You guys have looked at this before, and I think you've recommended not moving forward. Jennifer may not have found a resolution or an actual vote by council for that one, and she
Is that this one?
asked me if we put it back on. It's
That's the
in
one where the bridge goes across.
it's Mary Rhodes' house. It's got a lot of water. It's a ditch. It's working, but it's a bunch of water, and they are interested in the town piping that in. And I think you guys have looked at it one time, or a previous street committee looked at it. I don't know if council's ever voted on it. I think
That private property or?
yeah. It's behind their house for the most part, and then does run.
Isn't there an alley that goes through there?
I can look. I don't think there is, but there may very well be. There may be. And I can take a look to see if the ditch is in the alley or not in the alley. I can take a look to see best I can without spending money on surveying. Okay, but I think you guys have looked at it before, but it's not in the woods or anything. There's not a lot of leaves in it. It's just grassy in her yard, and she's interested in potentially having it piped in, but because it does bend, it would require some kind of a drop inlet or something right at the corner where the two pipes make the 90-degree angle.
Could that be one of those projects that was done like on F Street?
The drainage project?
When we put that in, what is it, Carolyn?
Oh, that was actually on town property.
Yeah, but.
It was on the right of way.
Remember they had to, no, because remember they had to set up a payment plan?
Yeah, but it was on town property. It wasn't on private property. Our culvert policy, if you look at it, does require payments on that kind of stuff, and that's why they made the payments. Everything was cool. We did some concrete work, but this is actually private property. Okay. No.
I think the other location you said you're working with B&B on.
Yeah, we looked at this one, and this one is very similar to the issue that we have down on 4th Street. We put curb and gutter in.
Where you at now? Which one?
Another one on Tavern Street.
Oh, it's two locations.
Yeah,
What
two
else, what else was this?
He came to see me not long ago. It's the second house from the end, 2 doors down from Hot Dog.
Two goes
Hot
down.
Dog, and then that rental house, and then the next house. Nice guy, older fellow.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Thomas Harris.
John.
Harris. This
Thomas
Harris.
Harris.
He came to see me some time ago after we put the curb and gutter in, and it's very similar to what's going on 4th Street. The water just can't get past that curb and gutter to get into the curb line. So B&B has taken a look at it, and it would require us to pipe behind the house. And it only happens when you get a 3-inch rain. I mean, it's not, a standard rain doesn't cause a problem, but you get 3 inches in 2 hours, and it's gonna be it's a fishing bowl right there in the front. And B&B's recommendation would be to run it behind the house, his house and his neighbor's house, and take it out to F Street. Now, I think we can figure out a way to keep it on right of way, but it would require us cutting the pavement and going down in that direction.
Estimate?
Hmm?
Estimate?
The what?
Estimate?
I can get you one.
And you said B&B, so I didn't know if they gave you one.
They have not given me a cost estimate. They just recommended, but I'm not in the business of really, and if you go behind his neighbor's house, there's big pine trees back there and a shed and stuff. I'm not grooving on that. If we can turn it on the Tavern Street side, I would definitely recommend trying to keep it on Tavern Street as long as the utilities aren't blocking or causing any
You
problem.
saying, but this is private, this is not, this is town property.
Well, the water's backing up on private property, but it's because the curb and gutter's there. I don't know if it did it before, and I think it may have done it before, but when we put the curb and gutter, the grade is lower than the back of the curb and gutter, so the water can't get over the curb. And with the houses situated the way they are, you can't fill that in because you'll be backfilling literally over the top of the block and the foundation. So, we got that one, and then a very similar situation on 4th Street, if you remember, Mr. Taggart.
Yeah. I know about it.
Almost virtually the same situation with the curb and gutters. And his estimation is causing it to back up, and we tried to make accommodation when we did it because there's a little ditch there, and we put like a little swale in the curb. And his contention, I think you can see some pictures Jennifer's shown. We went over there Jennifer went over there after it rained one night and took some pictures, and
I took
I think
pictures.
Mr. Miller took these.
Mr. Miller took pictures.
I got pictures on my phone.
Yeah, I took.
So I have some sympathy for both of those, and if the issue is going on private property, I think you can resolve both issues on public property But it's gonna require just cutting some pavement and running down in the ditch at the corner. Basically put a drop inlet. Cause the streets are really, really wide over there. 4th Street, I bet the property or the town limit or the town right of way goes 8, 10, 12 feet behind the curb. So there'd be room to put a drop inlet and then keep you off private property if you wanna do that.
So you're gonna get a car,
I will get a cost estimate for that and for the other one. I will provide both for you.
okay?
And,
So we got 2 on Calvin Street,
we got the one on 4th Street.
right?
I'll hit the last 2 real quick, before they get to Mr. Crawley. Sullivan Street ditch. That is we did some work over there probably 10 years ago where we had a sewer line that was getting exposed in a bank next to Michael May's house, right at the creek down at the end. We put riprap, and I think Michael actually paid a good portion. I think he paid $800 towards riprap and all that sort of thing, made payments on it. Well, he would like us to continue cleaning out the creek further down. And I thought he was gonna be here today, but he's come to see me. I think he stopped the mayor not too long ago, and I think he wants more work done in the ditch over there. And it ain't town property. It's a fairly big creek. It's Hurricane Branch. And that's the same creek that ultimately runs under Route 40 just before you get to the armory, down there at the back of the Wilson's place. So it carries some water down through there, but we've riprapped the bank, but I think he'd like more done. I was kinda hoping he would be here. Was he waiting for us at his house or anything, Jen?
I didn't talk to him.
There's additional work. You can go down there and take a look at it. You can see where the rock is, where we put the riprap in the creek and on the bank. That's what we did, and I think he'd like to continue that process for
When you say continuous, you talking about his own expense or doing the same thing we did the last time, or?
I mean, we could, if you're willing to do that, but again, private property situation, but if he's willing to pay, that's a little different than what we saw last night.
We're actually gonna ride out there tonight and see if he's there. When we get on the bus.
Or if you guys wanna ride over there afterwards.
I know what you're talking about, this is not the first.
You may wanna talk to Michael,
Yeah.
if you know Mike. He's a really engaging, nice, courteous guy, works out of Walmart, very easy to get along with. But he's persistent about this ditch and he wants to see, and it's a creek, this ain't a ditch, this is literally a creek. And it
A lot of
drains,
rock in there.
and we put a bunch of rock in the bottom and stabilized it. And the justification back then was we had a sewer line that runs between his driveway and the creek. There's actually a town sewer through there. And it was starting to wash to the point where it was gonna expose that pipe down there. And that's why the town got it out.
I can tell you where it's at, you know, we turn up there by the lines of Judah.
On Pine Road,
Coming back this way, when you get to that first right-hand turn, you make that turn and his house is on the left-hand side.
first house on the left.
You know what I'm saying? First-
And I'll ride anybody that wants to go over there, I'll show it to them, but, it's been 10 years, I know, since we did the work over there. But he'd like to continue the process, all right? I was under the impression he was gonna be here today. Highway 46, this one's a little different. We have a new, project going on at the intersection of 40 and 46, okay? And that's it hasn't been announced yet, but there are plans being drawn for a business commercial venture to go over there.
Gas station.
Pardon?
Gas station.
It likely is, yeah. I haven't gotten anything formal,
Heard about
but I'm guessing that very likely could be what it is. But I can't confirm, I haven't gotten anything in writing. I haven't heard that. If you go down 46 like you're going to,
Dundas.
Danielstown,
The landfill.
Lawrenceville. On your right-hand side, as you're going through there, you can see where water has backed up pretty appreciably in the town ditch on his side. Okay, it's been there a long time, and it's kind of swampy and muddy. There's a culvert that runs under 46, just past the entrance going to Schul's. Okay? And there's a little branch, creek, whatever, that runs down through there. I can clean the pipe, I can clean the ditch. Good with that, not a problem. But the backup is on private property. There's a big wad of tree stumps and weeds and crap in the ditch, and it's on private property. It's not in the town right away. And I would like to get permission to reach over there with a track hoe and not make any improvements, just get that big pile of crap out of the ditch that's causing the water to back up under the road onto that property. Take a look at it, go ride.
An issue with that?
Yeah, private property, right? I mean, we're gonna stand on something, I think.
But it's
I don't
back
even know
on
how
the
much
road.
money we got to do
Under
any
the
of this.
road.
How much money has been appropriated for, ditches and ditches? I know sidewalks is that concrete by the linear foot, but
We actually have, and you just appropriated an additional $60,000 last night. So you have $190,000 appropriated for secondary streets, which would include curb gutter and sidewalk. 190. And then you have an
Curb
additional
gutter and sidewalk.
$200,000 appropriated for primary streets. I don't think we're gonna do any primary this year because we did some Main Street. And we've received an appreciable grant, so we're gonna be doing South Main down there in front of Walmart. And so we have a $599,000 grant. So I think most of that money will go to secondary.
but is this street, sidewalk, and gutters,
Those are clearly right away, yeah. So it's in the secondary or primary, and we
Yeah.
charge it to one or the other.
but drainage issues, you know, how much is there for those?
Off property, off town right away? No, I don't have anything appropriate for it.
Well, how can we rightfully appropriate anything for something like this if we, as a group, were dead against it last night? We couldn't get it passed. We ain't gonna get it passed now either. I mean, being real.
Hey.
When you're talking about, on this last issue, when you're talking about reaching over, you're talking about reaching over with our truck, you're talking about
I can pay a contractor, I can do it ourselves. Just get a little mini excavator and just scoop out the ditch. And it's not that the ditch is too low, it's just accumulated trash, leaves, sticks, brush, greenbriers that are kinda gobbed up. If there's any roots that may have grown up in there, we scratch them out. We're not doing any permanent improvements. It's just cleaning out a dam that's on private property, it's backing the water up through the pipe that goes under Route 46, and it's ultimately backing up on this piece of property where they're trying to do. The contractor that was clearing the site, Ryan, was clearing the site, and he pointed out the dam. The dam was like, dude, I can't do anything about it, so they got me involved, and I looked down and said, "Yeah, private property." However, I'll bring the street committee to it.
Would Ryan have done it?
Ryan can reach over and do it, but he won't get paid for it. And I'm like, well, no, I can't do that. I mean, we can do it just as easily as Ryan. We got a smaller mini excavator. Wallace could do that in an hour. It's no big deal. But, I get your point, but, the water is backing up on another private property and it's running through our culvert under Route 46. The water's standing in that culvert under 46.
So
I bet you a
water's
month
coming-
ago it wasn't standing, but it is now.
So water's coming off private property and causing problems on public property, on public right of way.
It's backing up under in your culvert, yeah. It just doesn't have any way to get out. And
So how is the town playing a part in this?
because I've been approached by the
I'm
property
saying,
owner,
no, I'm not
Brian Gunn.
asking that, I'm talking about, you gotta, how is the town being asked, the town is being asked to clean out the ditch?
Just clean out that dam so that the water from the other side of the street can flow through. And I can tell him, Ryan, you know, we just gotta talk to the guy with the shopping center and you guys communicate and if he gives you permission, go over there and clean it out. I think the guy that owns the new property at 40 and 46 ain't really groovy on about paying for something on another property, I get it, but we're just at a kind of a lottery.
I think
But it's not a,
I mean, this
it's not pouring any concrete or laying pipe or anything.
Well, I see your point. I don't think it's really the same scenario. We're trying to fix
No, in
it
this
for another
case,
property.
private property is causing problems for public property.
Correct.
In the other case, public property is causing problems for private property.
Allegedly.
Okay? That's what it is. I mean, that's the difference. And we don't mind spending it to resolve our problem that's caused by the public, by the private property. But we can't get enough to vote for it to address private property issues that are caused by town property.
But we're not in agreement that public property is causing issues on private property where agreement isn't there.
Well, let's just say that card wasn't played last night. It wasn't, that point wasn't made, really. I mean, to this extent that I thought maybe he would have. But anyway, that's, in my honest opinion, all these people probably got valid situations, ain't no doubt about it. But if we're gonna appropriate money for a ditch,
Well, it doesn't sound like.
why are we gonna skip over
appropriating money.
one and do four more?
It doesn't seem
He
like
says
we're
he's
appropriating
like,
money for it.
charging the money, he's just gonna take the town.
Oh, yeah, that, because it's easy, we'll address it. But then Jane Doe got a situation, it might take 20 more minutes than that or the town wouldn't do nothing about that. You see what I'm saying?
There's a difference between
You know how it
100,000
goes,
and
man.
One guy with an excavator that we have.
Yeah.
There's a difference between 100,000 and one guy on an excavator.
That's just my opinion. I'm not trying to be contrary, I'm just trying to be consistent. If we're gonna be consistent as a group, then
See, you got one chassis.
See, another thing I heard about this too. Now, somebody told me that it was no longer good, but there was a moratorium on this thing that we weren't even gonna talk about this.
No problem. I can respond
Remember
to
that?
each and.
I don't know if you remember.
I was sitting out there.
That was the same time that we said we were gonna do only 5-2 votes for private beaches.
But I do think people still have the opportunity to come and ask you. I mean, I can dissuade them and tell them they can't do it, but I dare say they're still gonna stop you, like Michael May will stop you at the grocery store or something. You're still gonna get these requests, and they may come before you. But we've, as a staff, pretty much have covered off any of that kind of stuff. Not even cleaning out a ditch down there by Route 46. Is a contention nature.
I mean, this ditch thing, it's a complicated thing, and it's a small thing. And I hear what Gomez is saying, you know, if we do that, take that out there, Jane Doe see it, then next thing you know, they could be down here on, way on West Entrance or somewhere, you know, so. You know, let us talk about this again.
Now, right, any of y'all out there, if you'd like to go look
We
at it.
can get on the bus and ride right when we get done with this, and everybody can look at all of these properties real quick and we can.
I'm game if you wanna go for a ride.
Okay,
Jennifer wants to confirm that.
no, we got the bus, and y'all keep talking about riding, looking, so that's what we got the bus for.
Alright, is that it, Philip?
No, Mr. Crawley's here.
Yeah, that's what I was
Discuss
gonna
speed bump.
say.
And Mr. Pateras,
Yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Pateras lives on Nottaway Avenue, and Mr. Crawley lives on Luke Street.
We have closed in your packet, petition, I think Jennifer also put the policy, traffic calming policy in there. I think both of these fellows, Mr. Crawley lives on Luke Street, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And Mr. Pateras lives on Nottaway Avenue, and both have been, more recently, Mr. Crawley, and, historically, Mr. Pateras has asked for these things for probably 2 years. He's been calling either me or Jennifer or somebody, so, I'm not putting it off anymore, and I am going to tell you before you make any decisions on these kinds of things. I can't speak to Luke Street as much. I know there's been some issues over there, speeding and all those kind of things. You guys have to take a look at it, follow policy, do that. But I do want you to be cognizant that I've been given a preliminary, briefing, about a pretty sizable subdivision that's being proposed across the street from you.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't have anything to hand out.
Where is this, sir?
I don't know we have it. So I do think that your discussions about traffic count could change pretty radically. So any kind of a traffic study or any of that kind of stuff could be influenced. And be skewed a little bit because the traffic count now versus the traffic count potentially in 3, 4, 5 years could be radically different, quite frankly. And I'd like you to take that into account. And when I'm ready or able to present something physical, then I can give you guys more ideas. And you guys are gonna have to vote, the planning commission have to approve it, and it's gonna be, because it's appreciable subdivision.
So, but I mean, what is this gonna have to do with the traffic calming devices?
Well.
They're more likely to happen, they're more likely to get
More likely
support.
to happen,
Right.
because if you do a study now and it says, there are 200 cars a day, whatever, it might be more, whatever it is, might be 200 cars a day, and it doesn't meet the standard perhaps, and a decision made not to do it, but just keep in mind, in the relatively near future, you may see a pretty
You might see
appreciable number.
200 more addresses
Might be 200 more.
built down there.
I don't have anything beyond a conversation to share with you, but I think in fairness, Mr. Pateras and Mr. Crawley, they need to, and you guys need to know in any kind of deliberation that there'll be some more cars on that road. And it doesn't have to be rezoned. It only has to be approved for subdivision. It is already, if you look at this piece of property right here. I don't know if you guys can see. Right there. It's a cut over, where they cut the timber.
Yep.
It's 50 acres out there. And you put a lot of houses on 50 acres out there. I think they're limiting factor is gonna be sewer availability, because the sewer is here at Nottaway, and the property does fall back in a pretty big pond, if you didn't know that, in that property. And, so the property falls away from Nottaway Avenue, so the sewage is gonna be the telling factor of probably how fast and how many, and at what point they get developed.
Philip, didn't they try that a couple of years ago, I thought, the owner?
I think the property has been for sale, and I'm not, I've seen for sale signs on
I
it,
have.
but I do think it has been sold.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I've
I'm sure it's
probably heard from the same person that talked to you, but
It has been sold.
it's been sold.
And I think that there potentially is a contract to sell it to a development group, potentially. Or develop it themselves, but I've been contacted by some folks that are interested in putting hands on it.
Makes sense.
Houses and apartments, isn't it?
Huh?
And apartments, right?
In townhouses, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, it's appreciable, I mean, it'd be a bunch of them. And I think that would skew any kind of traffic study, ultimately, that was conducted.
Well, I know of a
In
real
favor
good
of
traffic calming
running
device.
less. Pardon?
I know of a really good traffic calming device that you can use today,
Is that the police?
and that's a
White
police
strip?
cruiser. So I'm asking you to direct the police chief to step up the patrols over there, and I want tickets written.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That would be excellent.
What about these traffic calming devices?
And I,
Well, that's fine, I support that, but I want tickets written. Now, when I go into Lawrenceville, Virginia, I don't go over 2 miles an hour the speed limit, cause I know that that's a traffic calming area. And I want that to be a traffic calming area. What happened on Luke Street, I don't want it happening again.
I will tell y'all, these two gentlemen went by the process, we have the policy, I provided them with that, they provided in writing their reasons. Mr. Crowley has been to several meetings, and they have gotten a petition signed, so they've done everything that they've been asked to do in the
I
policy.
think the next
Now
step
it's
is
up to you.
to do like a traffic study. Am I correct in that?
I don't know whatever the policy is.
Forgive me for my ignorance, Mr. Chairman. Do you have to have a traffic study to put these speed bumps up?
They didn't do that on Taylor, Carver, or Sullivan.
No, we did that just because there was such a crime issue down there in Pickett Court. I think that was just a reaction to stick them in there.
Well, they got a serious problem with the West End too now.
Yes, we do.
Yes, they do.
We're gonna have to get some med-flight units if we're gonna do it all over town. We're not gonna be able to be running an ambulance or,
The town will
You know,
conduct an
so-
engineering study or review consisting of engineering field review, speed study, and traffic count as detailed in step 3 of the VDOT guide. That's the next step. I think they've done the paperwork. If you're agreeable, I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I don't see no problem with it. I mean,
don't see no problem.
they've done everything they're
No.
supposed to do.
They've done what they're
Now,
supposed to do.
are you doing this for Nottaway, Luke Street, and Fall Street?
They've met the minimum. I can't say B&B's gonna come back and say Luke Street yet. Or Nottaway yet, but it's an unbiased third set of eyes looking at it and let them do it. But
What part of Second Street?
I don't think it's Second Street, is it? Luke
Yeah,
Street?
Second Street was on, Miss Williams sent an email and said that she's had neighbors reach out to her. And, so she lives at, what, Green?
See, they're right in front of the church.
My expectation, it wasn't necessarily, yeah, I see petitions for Nottaway Avenue.
It's where Magnolia Place
Luke
is, over in
Falls,
that
that's-
area, over that way. Are you interested in up your way?
No,
Okay.
last time we put traffic calming devices in my neighborhood, I caught a lot of phone calls that did
Okay.
not
The
appreciate that.
petitions that are in here are Luke and Fall Street. I don't see one for Second Street.
They were not.
There is
Right, no,
petition for
Miss
that.
Williams said she had been
Mr.
getting.
Crowley just said Second Street.
Oh,
I was just reading what I see up
Oh,
there.
oh,
yeah,
okay.
Miss Councilwoman Williams has been getting,
Without further ado, to proceed on, I will get B&B to conduct a VDOT standard study per policy and on Luke Street, Fall Street, and Nottaway Avenue. Okay. Moving on,
It's great.
no problem. Secondary money, no appropriation.
Oh, you won't have,
You can
hey,
check me, I know you
that's
all.
safety and
When you
that's,
get on
that's
the bus and-
streets there. I mean, you know, we got 1.4 million on
So I
that.
can go.
1.488.
We
right.
going, we going.
Probably.
You gotta be back by six, you only got.
If y'all don't wanna ride, that's fine. I'll take you individually at your convenience, ride around, do whatever you wanna do, look at any of this stuff.
Yes.
You may be able to do a Sullivan and.
I mean, I'm gonna go look at it anyway by myself, so I'm gonna, I mean,
Hey, Chairman Miller, Mr. Gutierrez would like to speak. Can he speak?
Sure.
Okay. You can come up here to the podium.
I don't need to mic. I gotta bring my. Good afternoon. I appreciate the invitation. In the 15 years that my wife Grace and myself have lived on Nottoway Avenue, I have never seen it so bad with speeding, going through stop signs, going through the stop sign in the middle of the street. If they're turning left, they literally now more and more are starting to turn. It feels like we're living on Route 95. A couple weeks ago, my wife said she was watching TV. She said, Jim, this car must have been going 85 miles an hour, it seemed like. And he was crossing the line, and a lot of them are distracted. And I hate to say it, but someday a child, I see them out at night when I go for my walk, they're gonna get hit, or a pet. My cat Spunky, Fluffy, excuse me, he was crossing one day because he saw me, and if that vehicle had been going faster, he would have been squashed. And so, you know, there's this real big safety danger there, and the problem, as you know, is there's such a gap. They use it as a speed strip between Cole Harbor, the trucks coming out of Cole Harbor, motorcycles coming out of there. They just use it as a speed strip. If they stop at all at the stop sign, if they do it, even if they stop, they just proceed, as Jen knows, the flyby. There's a motorcycle that's constantly at night living, that's speeding through there. And so, you know, something's gonna happen at some point. And, you know, as we know, someone sadly was killed years ago on the street. So, you know, I really believe it's an urgent issue with it.
Take my card. That's got all my numbers.
Thank
You don't see an appreciable difference. I want to know.
Okay, thank you. And Mayor Green hit it on the head when he brought all up the police presence. I know they got a tough job, but here's the typical scenario. I call up, they ask me, where is it happening? I tell them where. They said, what does it look like? Half the time, they're so fast, I don't even see them. And you say, well, is it happening now? Yeah. They sense a place, goes around the community, there's nobody speeding at that particular moment, and he leaves. So like I say.
You want me to let the bus go, or do you want to, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt.
That's right.
I was gonna let him go.
I don't have to, no, I'm good.
And
I'll
just
go
to-
look at stuff.
Just to wrap
I can go on
up,
my own.
I don't really believe they're taking anybody. Maybe one or two here and there, but if it's not being enforced, they're just gonna laugh at it, you know, and if
Well,
they
I
just.
think I made it clear to the manager, I want it done, and if you don't see a difference, I wanna know. I'm gonna personally get involved in this, because what happened on Luke Street, and you're not the only citizen that I've heard from,
Yes,
it's atrocious.
it is. The 10 people that signed up with me for that, all totally agreed. If there'd been more people home that particular night, I'm sure would have signed up, and they've got teenagers, they've got children, and they're very concerned as well. So,
Keep me in the loop.
I will let you know, Commissioner. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we will get that process started, the engineers will, maybe in 30 days, we'll have them out there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
So as a wrap up, so on Elm Street, the sidewalk,
Y'all take a look at it, no hurry, come back, tell me what you're thinking, but it
The
would be the
towers-
whole block.
the Tavern Street drainage, West Fourth Street ditch. You're waiting on cost estimates, right?
And I'm
You
gonna try to
agree
stay
with
on
that?
public property with the result, so we're not cutting down trees, moving sheds, and going behind people's houses.
And, you're gonna work on the traffic calming, the Sullivan Street ditch.
I'm gonna look at that.
That's Mr.
Go talk to
Mack.
Michael and find out exactly how far he wants to go.
Have we
I know
contacted,
Michael too. He's, the
Have-
produce man, out the wall.
have we,
Michael Black, the guy.
He's a very nice guy.
did we contact you when I brought you his phone number, name and all that? Did we
He's
contact?
been in the office within the past month.
I promised him a phone call. Have we done that?
Did you go?
But we'll call him tonight, or tomorrow.
Well, I don't want him to think that, I had a great conversation with him and it fell on deaf ears. Cause he was, like you say, he's the kind of people I wanna help, he had
But in
great things
fairness,
to say about
He
you,
had come to see us previously, and we put him on the agenda,
right?
and he may have stopped you at the grocery store or
He
whatever
did.
it was, but,
But he had very good things to say about the town, your staff,
he's a good dude.
so.
I got a question. These traffic calming devices. I heard you say, and I'm not downgrading, I'm just asking a question. Why can't that rapid action be taken on Nottaway Avenue?
If you guys are willing to do it, I'll stick them on.
Well, I guess it's up
It
to the
just-
council, but.
Pickett Court was just, everybody's carrying on and raising
Right,
cane and all.
right. But
And then down Taylor's Bottom, it was really a open area.
And Nottaway Avenue it's really bad.
Pickett
But I-
Court was a pretty easy decision for us because you can't put a snowplow down Pickett Court to begin with. And
Yeah.
that was kinda always the
But I
dissent
think you did
against,
get a traffic
against
study.
traffic calming devices.
We did a traffic study on Pickett Court to drop the speed limit down to 15 miles an hour. Not for the,
But maybe you used that when you did do the speed bump.
but to drop speed limits to 15, which we did at Pickett Court, the state code used to require a traffic study. We did one, and
And you got to get the General Assembly to approve it, like we did with court.
I don't think we had to go to, I think General Assembly ultimately had changed that rule.
Oh, they did? Okay. But I know at one time, 25 mile an hour was the minimum statewide, so I didn't know that. I'm learning something every day.
It was 25 unless you did a traffic study by state code, and the only reason I know is we learned, to go to 15, you had to have a traffic study, and we did do a traffic study on Pickett Court, and they were like, yeah, it justifies the 50 miles.
Hey, guys, I'm not arguing about the speed bumps, you know, but I am worried about snow plows, ambulances, fire, and so just keep that in mind. When, as long as y'all got the information, I want y'all to make the decisions, but
You can go as fast as you want, you can waive formalities, that's council's discretion, we can put them in there, and do it as you'd like to. I can't say it's gonna be unanimously popular. I think the people that live down through there probably be cool with it, and the people at Cole Harbor are gonna be like, well, I don't know.
That's,
But they will vote.
that's what happened. We put those temporary ones when we had to reroute Main Street for the culvert pipe. My phone would not stop ringing.
Oh, yeah.
When are you picking these up?
People
When are
on
you picking these up? When are you
Tempe,
picking these up? Yeah. I'll support anybody else's ward, but if you ask me in my own ward, I'm gonna, please don't. I don't need my phone ringing like
The
that.
people that, like Mr. Terrace, he's gonna love it.
Yeah.
The people that have to deal with it, Jim Hogue probably is gonna be very favorable, but Jennifer could very well be very favorable. But the drive-through people, they live down in Cole Harbor, they're,
They ain't paying no money no way, so.
They do that.
So I don't really
oh,
care
tell
about
it, man.
I get it.
Cole Harvey ain't giving you nothing, what they give you?
If you
They
let
give you
them
anything?
waive the formality,
They
we can go to
giving
the
you
next council
anything,
meeting.
so I don't really, I'm like Jake now, I don't care what they say. They ain't giving us a penny.
So are you just recommending Nottaway, or are you recommending Lucan Falls Street too?
I think you need to do a study on Lucas Falls if you're
Yeah,
going
we
to
do a
something.
study on Luke and Falls, but we'll put them down on Nottaway. That's good?
Yeah, I have nothing against the
Waive the
common
formality
divide.
on Highway Avenue.
Yeah, we put a formality.
But full council needs to vote in August, and then
Yeah, right,
by the day I go
That's
back.
what we're gonna
And I
recommend.
can promise you,
Where's that?
Take a vote so you can recommend the council.
All in favor of that, signify by saying
So
aye.
you're gonna do the study on Lucan Falls, and you're gonna bypass the study on Nottaway,
Right.
and you want that as a recommendation to council.
To council.
So you're making that motion?
Where,
Get a second.
sorry, what portion of Nottaway are we talking?
He lives past Amelia. He lives between Amelia and where that stop sign is going up towards Cole Harbor.
it would be between Amelia and the town limit. And the town limits are between Hardy Street and Cole Harbor Apartments. Is the town limits.
Amelia's the bridge, right? Amelia's Barbara's Bridge.
That's where the terrace lives.
How many speed bumps do you think it'd be? I mean, that's a.
I probably would rely
Fraction.
on D&B to give me some advice, but I'd say 2 per block. Now,
Is it a certain suggested distance apart?
I would think there probably is some standard, and I just had D&B.
Yeah.
What's the approved standard on this kind of thing? I'm guessing 2 per block. I wouldn't think it'd be any more than that.
And we would put real speed bumps in, not,
Are these gonna be those rubberized?
not some Amazon speed bump, right?
No, I'm gonna do those are much better.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, those are great. Those things, they'll knock your teeth out if you hit them.
The Amazon.
Yeah, those rubberized ones, that's the trick, because ultimately you can pick them up and take them away. But those things will slow you down. That thing at Pickett Court where I did the asphalt,
How many would you need to go across Nottaway
it'll
Avenue?
take like 6 or 8 of them to get across the road. I mean, cause they come in what, 6-foot sections and 5-foot sections, and you know, go all the way across. And you can't stagger them because somebody's just gonna.
Now, could that come out of secondary money? So there was a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
recommend to council.
I'm gonna support it so we can take it to council for discussion, but I wanna think about it a little more, see it lay out too.
So all in favor?
You know, Nottaway Avenue,
It's a long stretch.
it's a long stretch, and then you got, like you said, where you getting ready to put that subdivision, it's a long way up there till you get to another set of houses.
You know,
So,
man,
you know,
if I lived on the end.
Yeah, Cole, yeah, got shot 4 times on the way in.
So you could be jumping them on a minute motorcycle.
I'd be willing to
Oh,
tell
yeah.
you the problem's gonna be, you put them out there and people are gonna bypass on Luke and Falk to go around them. I bet you that's what you're gonna see a lot more
That's why you'll
traffic.
put them on Luke and Falls too.
You may have to put them on Luke and
We'll
Falk.
wait till then to do the traffic count, right?
Somebody that doesn't wanna go over there with a nice car, rims or whatever, they're gonna run up on Luke Street and.
well, Philip, once you put them things there, can't they come up?
Yeah, they're just screwed in the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, you can take
I
mine.
just wonder.
Y'all need to vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright, one more question. What do y'all say on the Highway 46 drainage? Nothing was decided.
I need to look at that, I wanna go out there with Philip on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanna think about that one.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that, cause I heard what Gomez is saying, you going from town to private, private to town, so.
It's a private problem that's causing trouble on public and then ultimately on private across the board. You can check it out and.
But while Ryan was out there, he could have done that, right?
Yeah, he wanted to, and I
while
told
he
him,
was
no, I
clearing
didn't pay
it,
you to
okay.
do it. And if he had done it on his own, but he wanted me to pay him to do it, I would do that.
How much was he gonna charge you to pay?
Oh, wow. He said, I need to get paid. We don't work on private property, do you? And Dana told him correctly, and so they asked me to come out and be the deciding factor in private property, and
I
I'm
know
totally right.
I know that since we've had this moratorium, we've made some exceptions when it came to just having somebody take an excavator down there and taking a couple scoops, cause we made that exception behind, over there behind Pickett Court, didn't we?
For the driveway?
There was an area down there where you said, hey, can I bring the mini X down here and take a couple scoops out?
Mm-hmm.
Cause that's a lot different than having a whole line item appropriation and spending, doing permanent capital improvement to private property, at least in my opinion.
What we do, cause like I say, this thing is, it's a consequence, so. We're gonna recommend this over to the whole council.
That's
I
right.
think it needs to.
I'll just take it to the whole council, that kind of thing, but
Okay.
in the meantime,
But the
please
mean-
come see me, and we'll go right.
But yeah, the meanwhile, before the next council meeting, we need to be there one out there and see what they talking about. I'm serious, cause don't need no more drama.
Thank you, gentlemen, and ladies.
Is that it?
I'm gonna get
Yeah,
Jennifer's
yes.
food.
What time is it?
It is approximately
It is exactly.
5:46.
Are you adjourning? Chairman, y'all have anything else?
Adjourn this meeting at 5:46.